loop of the large intestine, and the problem is downstream, somewhere maybe in the colon distendens. That's why there is enlargement. The sign is bile sign, because this bulging can be tumor, for example, yes, or something else, cyst, but in this case, it's just distended loop, bile sign. The second sign is Schlange sign. Schlange. Schlange. S C H L A N G E. Schlange sign. When we look at the patient, at his abdomen, her abdomen, we see the peristalsis movement.
Peristalsis.
The very active peristalsis, which is visible, can be seen in some cases, in some stages of the intestinal obstruction. And this sign is Schlange sign. The next sign is the name is Grekov sign. Grekov, or firstly was description of this sign was in Obukhov. Obukhov is the name of the city in Russia. Obukhov's hospital is the science of Obukhov's hospital. And first who make description of the sign was Greco. What does it mean? When there is a low intestinal obstruction somewhere, for example, in the sigmoid intestine, in this patient, when we make the rectal examination, we can see the open or very relaxed anus and distended rectum.
Orifice.
Not orifice, rectum. Why it happens? It is reflectory, because you know that there is a peristalsis of the intestine, and while one part contracts, the other is distended, so that take all in the previous part inside. But imagine the situation when these obstructed parts constantly contracts. This part, which is downstream, constantly dilates, and it freezes in this position, and that's why we receive a relaxation of the anus and distension of the rectum. It's reflectory. Okay, the next sign is Sklerov sign. Sklerov sign means that during the intestinal obstruction, the fluid collected in the intestine, and we can make such kind of palpation, is balloting palpation, and we can hear the splash of this water. Why? Because in the intestine we can find water and gas above it. When there is such a mixture, when we make movement, we can hear the splashes. If you pour the bottle totally, and when we start to do something like this, we don't hear any splashes. Or, for example, when you are on the beach or swim on the water, if you make splashes on the surface of the water, you can hear the splashes. Or when you try to do it underwater, no splashes, no sounds, because no air, just water. So, and the last is Kivula. Kivula sign. What means Kivula sign? When we make percussion in a normal situation, we can hear tympanitis, because some amount of the gas still we can find in the intestine. It's normal. But when there is a distension of the loop, the wall of the intestine start to be very thin and tensed. That's why the sound will be not like tympanic. It's tympanic with metallic sound. Yes, it's like a string on the guitar. While we make tangent. Okay. So there is no explosion, but the sound is still very metallic. That's why. So, and the last is decompression of the intestine with the tube. What does it mean? You will read about that. Uh, but I'll try to explain you so that you understand. When there is intestinal obstruction, the intestine is suffering from distension, and when we operate patient in several 1, 2, 3 days, the intestine is not supposed to be very healthy, and the peristalsis is under question. That's why we should help intestine to remove all inside. That's why we put the tube, and all fluid, all gases which collect there will go through this tube outside. And in 2, 3 days, when the intestine start to work normally, the peristalsis start to be healed, and then we can remove this drainage. There are 3 ways to put in this drainage, depending of the position of our operation and position or localization of the intestinal obstruction. In case of high level obstruction, we can put tube through the nose or through the mouth and reach the region under question. Yes, if it located, for example, not far from the cecum, uh, we cannot reach through the mouth because it's something like 5 meters tube. It's impossible. And through the anus also is difficult because there is a special valve in the cecum. You remember, if you go through this valve, it will be a problem. So you operate and then you insert into this tube through the stomach. Then after the patient getting better, you remove it. Then the last, when the problem is in the large intestine, you insert the tube through the anus till the cecum. That's all.
That's good.
Okay, understandable. So for tomorrow, you prepare. Please have a seat.